Hi guys, it's Dr. Kennedy. I told you that I'd give you a series of videos about how to write an in-class essay, so I'm doing that now. Now, please have patience with me because this is my first time trying to shoot a video like this, teaching with a whiteboard. I'll probably experiment with different things, but since we have kind of a time crunch on our hands before the in-class essay on Monday, I wanted to get things out to you as quickly as possible. And if I make any weird faces, it's because I'm like looking at myself in the camera and maybe liking and maybe not liking what I see. Okay, so the first video, super short, but it just kind of gives an explanation of why I'm approaching teaching essay writing in this kind of way, because it's not the traditional essay approach, okay? Traditional essay approach is probably how you learned how to write an essay, right? And that's because you learn how to do the different things in an essay in a different order. So, for instance, you probably learned about body paragraphs first because before you even writing essays, you were writing body paragraphs where you'd have a topic sentence, an evidence, an interpretation or analysis or explanation of that evidence, depending on sort of like what level you were at when you were writing it. Then later, once you started incorporating, excuse me, that kind of writing into an entire essay, then you learned about the other types of paragraphs, right? An intro paragraph or conclusion paragraph. So that's traditional essay approach. Makes sense for when you're learning how to write an essay because it's based on the parts of an essay, which you learn at different times, right? Okay, so now that you know how to write an essay or like the general, this is what an intro does, this is what a conclusion does. There might be like things that are a little fuzzy for you, but you have the general idea. You don't need any like radically new concepts that you're going to learn. Okay, we're gonna look at it at a slightly different way. It's still gonna have all of the same things, but I'm going to talk about the relationships between those things in a different way, okay? So bear with me. We're going to be learning what I like to call a structural essay approach. And in a structural essay approach, instead of being based on the parts of the essay, like this approach, where I would go over with you yet again, what goes in a body paragraph? What goes in an introduction? What's a thesis statement? What goes in a conclusion? Does anybody care about conclusions? This is rather based on the parts of an argument, which is really the purpose of the essay. So this is based on sort of like it's almost like this approach is based on the genre, whereas this approach is based on like what objective you're trying to achieve. And that's why I'm arguing that it's a very helpful way to think about it and look at it. And it's going to, especially if you've ever struggled with this in the past, or especially in making everything feel like integrated and connected, this might help you, okay? So in this one, instead of learning how to do a body paragraph, intro paragraph, conclusion paragraph, we're going to be dividing it differently. The structural essay approach, which I'll be going over in these videos, you're going to learn how to first make an argument, okay? And that's gonna be the framework of your essay. And your argument for this essay, since there's only 2 body paragraphs, your argument is going to be topic sentence number 1, topic sentence number 2, and your thesis statement. And they're all super related and interconnected, okay? And in fact, your thesis statement is like an equation of your topic sentences. So in a way, it makes it like far more formulaic and less mysterious, like you've got to come up with an essay that you are inspired by and pull out of the ether and then, comes free floating out of you. It's a little more structured and therefore kind of reliable, and it should be calming. Like structure. Everybody likes structure. Okay? Second thing that you're going to do is you're going to learn we're going to be dealing with evidence, right? Because an argument has to be based on evidence. Otherwise, you're just making crazy claims. But it's going to focus on the kind of, that's not how you spell explanation and interpretation of evidence, okay? So, for instance, if you've ever gotten comments on a paper where your teacher says something like, you need more context to explain what's happening in this quote, or what's going on in this moment. I don't really understand. That's about your explanation of the evidence. You don't want to just rely on summary, but some degree of summary or really context is necessary for understanding your argument. The second part is interpretation of your evidence. So that's analysis, right? And that really, when you start thinking of things in a formulaic way, analysis becomes not only easier, but fun. Because that's you explaining why the evidence you chose is excellent for defending your argument, okay? So again, we're not learning new things, we're learning different approaches to old things that we're super familiar with, but that might be like, now this is suddenly very clear to me. And finally, justifying significance, okay? So justifying significance is going to be kind of like, what do you do in your concluding sentences of paragraphs? What are you going to do in your concluding paragraph itself? Because they're all about significance, and it's sort of like, you can make an argument, you can defend it, but if it doesn't really matter to anybody, then who cares, right? But there are also sort of formulaic ways to approach this too. So, I hope that's helpful. This will be super fun and interesting, I think, and helpful, I hope. And I'll just keep pumping these out. Hopefully I'll make a bunch of them today. Okay, see you later. Bye.